Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be going over the Utah Royals and their run throughout the preliminary stage of the 2020 Challenge Cup. I'll be going over the starting lineups, the formations, the goals they conceded, the goals they scored, and basically just give my overall thoughts of each game they played so far and what I think they need to improve on going into the quarterfinals. As always, timestamps will be in the description box below, so let's get started. The Utah Royals played their first game in the Challenge Cup against the Houston Dash, and they ended up tying 3-3. They came out in a 3-5-2 formation with Abby Smith, Elizabeth Ball, Rachel Corsi, Gunny Johnsdaughter, Razor Strom Okamoto, Diana Matheson, Lola Labonta, Vera Bukete, Katie Bowen, Amy Rodriguez, and Brittany Ratcliffe all in the starting lineup. Utah came out very strong in the first half. It was definitely a very stark difference from what we saw under Laura Harvey. I feel like Laura Harvey didn't really have a strong game plan from her. I feel like Craig has come in and made a huge difference so far, and you can see it off the bat. Players are coming out understanding what their role is, understanding how the team wants to play as a whole, and I think that's a really important thing that they've been able to manifest throughout the short preseason training that they've had. I was surprised to see that he came out with a 3-back because a 3-back is one of those formations that is just so risky. It doesn't matter how good you are. And I think so far they've been really good with possession out of the back, and I think they look very dangerous up top. And within the midfield, they're actually keeping possession, all these things, which is just so shocking to me because it's such a huge difference from how they were playing a year ago. In the second half, they started off poorly. They gave up 2 goals pretty early on. They were able to come back from that 2-0 deficit. I feel like most teams, when they're down by 2 goals, would probably start to give into the fact that they're probably going to lose. But Utah didn't give up that hope that they were still going to get a result. The Utah Royals conceded 3 goals. The first goal happened because Gunny Johnsdaughter got caught too high up in that 3-back system. And again, I've talked about this on my channel before, but especially in a 3-back, girl, if you even get a little bit out of position, you're gonna get taken advantage of. And so this is what happened, and Katie Naughton ended up playing a great ball over top into the space that Gunny Johnsdaughter had left, and Veronica Latsko just dribbled it down, made a great pass to Rachel Daly, who took her touch and placed it in the net. Again, it was just Houston was able to take advantage of the 3-back and the vulnerability that you experience when you play that formation. The second goal that they conceded was because Rachel Daly beat Rachel Corsi 1v1 in the air. Chrissy Mewis played a great corner kick right to Rachel Daly, who just headed it in. And I think this is a common theme we'll notice throughout this tournament, is that Rachel Corsi is not very strong in the air. And so that's definitely something other teams should be looking at, because she almost had another goal scored on her the exact same way in this game, but she ended up getting lucky that Katie Stengel just headed it right at Abby Smith. And then the third goal that Utah conceded was because Taylor Lytle did not mark Shea Groom. If you go back and watch the game, every single player in the 3-back system is on their mark. And so at that point, if there's someone at the top of the box, it's up to the midfielders to drop back and to cut off that passing lane and to mark that player, and she didn't do that. Props to Shea Groom. That was a fantastic strike from her right into the corner. Absolutely nothing Abby Smith could have done. But again, if players don't drop as a unit, that 3-back is going to get exposed so quickly. But Utah had a good response. They scored 3 goals. This one was a great team effort. Lola Labonta had a fantastic through ball to Amy Rodriguez, who just took it down to the inline, played it across the box to Diana Matheson, who got her first goal since like 2018. Vero ended up getting a goal off of a free kick. Unfortunately, Houston got a handball just outside the box. Vero was able to convert her free kick chance. It was literally a perfect shot. Perfect pace, perfect curve, went right around the wall. Nothing Jane Campbell could have done. The Utah Royals got their equalizer, and very late in the game, Elizabeth Ball was fouled a little bit outside the box, and again, Vero played a fantastic ball into the box. Cece Kaiser did not mark Sierra King, and she ended up getting her head on it. Scored on her rookie debut. I have a small concern from this game, and I don't think it's necessarily just from this game, but if you've been watching this league and you know who Abby Smith is, she tends to make weird errors as a keeper. Like one year, ball was sent in, she went to clear it and literally whiffed the ball, and they got scored on. The amount of secondhand embarrassment I got from that was insane. Again, in this game, I understand why it wasn't a goal. She went to punt the ball, and Rachel Daly deflected it and ended up scoring on her. The goal didn't count, but I don't know. From my perspective, I think that should be a goal. Come on, she was inside the box. Rachel Daly was outside the box. She stuck her leg out. Abby Smith knew she was there. She could have backed up. She could have literally done what every other keeper does when a forward's being annoying. They just run to the other side. Like, there were so many ways she could have avoided that, and it's just small mental lapses like that we notice a lot from her. I think overall I was just genuinely really impressed with the energy they came out with and the style of play they were trying to implement, and the fact that they were able to get 3 goals and to equalize in the late minute. It was just really impressive. The second game the Utah Royals played was against Sky Blue FC, and they won 1-0. They came out in a 3-1-4-2 formation with Abby Smith, Kate Delfava, Rachel Corsi, Elizabeth Ball, Lola Bonta, Michelle Maimon, Reza Strom Okamoto, Vera Bukete, Diana Matheson, Brittany Ratcliffe, and Amy Rodriguez all in the starting lineup. They had the majority of the possession in the first half. They had the majority of the chances. They absolutely dominated this entire game in terms of possession and opportunities. I was surprised they were able to make it out of this game with an only 1-0 lead. I thought they would definitely have scored more goals based off of the opportunities they were able to create. The first goal happened because Sky Blue made a bad turnover. Gina Lewandowski tried to clear the ball, and it just ended up going straight into a Utah player. Brittany Ratcliffe got the ball, played it to Amy Rodriguez, who played it to Vera Bukete, who took her space in front of her, ended up playing a great slip pass once she baited a defender right to Amy Rodriguez, who just slipped that in the bottom corner. It was just a great goal from all the forwards combined because they were probing the area. They were sitting there waiting for Sky Blue to make a mistake, and they did, and they capitalized on that, and that's exactly what you want from your front line of press. I think Vera was absolutely incredible this game. She was involved in literally every single play offensively. I was really impressed with Amy Rodriguez and Brittany Ratcliffe in terms of the energy they brought to the field as well. You could just tell that this game that they really wanted to get that win and that they were really pushing to get goals. Although they didn't get the result they wanted, you could definitely see the thought process and the way that Craig Harrington wants his team to play, and I think overall it was a very positive performance from the Utah Royals. In the third game, the Utah Royals played the Olympic Lyonnais Reign, and they ended up losing 1-0. They came out in a 3-1-4-2 formation. They started Nicole Barnhart, Kate Delfava, Rachel Corsi, Elizabeth Ball, Maddie Nolf, Mallory Weber, Michelle Maimon, Lola Bonta, Vera Bukete, Amy Rodriguez, and Brittany Ratcliffe. This game was kind of a disaster from both standpoints. There was too much kicking of the ball, unnecessary long balls to players who weren't there or couldn't make the run, and passes were not crisp. They were in the air, they were bouncy, players were having bad touches, and this was seriously making their possession so much harder to achieve because both teams would just close the other team down. In the first half, it's just neither team could really find their groove. I felt like Utah had a lot of chances individually. Michelle Maimon should have at least got her shot on target, and Brittany Ratcliffe had a great opportunity that she didn't convert. Mallory Weber should have taken her shot first time instead of taking a touch. It's just small things that add up when you're getting a lot of opportunities and you're not capitalizing on them because of silly mistakes, and they will come back to haunt you because you might not get that chance again. In the second half, the Reign made some subs that really changed the game. They brought on some key players who were getting some rest. It totally changed their offense. They were coming down Utah's throat the last 20 minutes of the game, and Utah and their three back were struggling to hold on to the tie that they were going to end the game in. At this point, Utah's outside backs are exhausted from doing all the defensive work and all the offensive work, and the midfielders are exhausted from having to transition the defensive game to the offensive game, and just overall, I think the Reign were able to break them down in the last minutes of the game, and they ended up getting their goal. The Reign's goal was beautiful. The ball ended up making its way to Momiki, and so for Momiki to get that touch wide and to ping it straight to Bethany Balser, fantastic. I think that cross was more beautiful than the goal itself. And that header was fantastic. We know Bethany Balser is good at heading the ball. Taylor Leach lost her mark. The ball went over her head, and at this point, Katie Bowen couldn't slide over to try to cut that. Bethany Balser ended up getting her head on it and scored. I think it was just unfortunate because I feel like Utah had been playing well. They just couldn't hold on the last minutes of the game. I think something you can take away from this game is that the Royals have to capitalize on the opportunities that they get, because again, this game should have not been a 1-0 win from the Reign. They definitely should have lost based off of the chances Utah had, and they weren't just half chances, they were substantial opportunities to score. They should have capitalized on their opportunities more, and they would have won this game for sure. The last game the Utah Royals played was against the Chicago Red Stars, and they ended up losing 1-0. They came out in a 3-4-3 lineup with Abby Smith, Taylor Leach, Rachel Corsi, Gunny Johnsdaughter, Aminata Diallo, Taylor Lytle, Maddie Nolf, Katie Bowen, Ariel Shipp, Mallory Weber, and Brittany Ratcliffe. They were definitely resting some key players in this game, which I was kind of surprised about because I feel like Chicago, based off the tournament they had, this would probably have been a team that they wanted to come out and beat, but they definitely came out with their B team in terms of the players they put on the field. In the first half, I'd say the stats were pretty equal in terms of possession, but Chicago definitely had the better of the opportunities in the final third. They definitely created more chances that were, again, substantial and ones that actually could have led to better goal-scoring opportunities than what Utah was able to create. In the second half, the Chicago Red Stars ended up making some subs that were very crucial for the result they ended up getting, and they just couldn't hold on to this game either. They couldn't close out the tie. Savannah McCaskill ended up getting an opportunity where she made a perfect cross in. Craig Harrington put Kelly O'Hara in for her first appearance in this tournament, wanting her to help close out the game, but she ended up getting beat on the aerial game to Casey Short, who just literally hopped her, headed the ball in the net, and that was it. At this point, Utah was definitely not going to come back from that. It was just too late in the game, and I just think as a whole, the team knew that they weren't going to get a result from that game. I was genuinely shocked with the result, just based off of the tournament that Chicago had been having. I was expecting the Royals to actually destroy them, but they didn't get the results that they wanted, and I think something that they can learn from that is they have to learn how to ride out these games defensively. Teams like the North Carolina Courage are going to absolutely take advantage of the fact that you're tired in the last 20 minutes, and they will probably put 3 goals in the back of the net. My overall thoughts going into the quarterfinals. I think my first concern is their 3-back system. I don't necessarily see the point of it. I do in terms of wanting to have more numbers in the midfield and up top, but I just don't feel like it's necessarily working out for them so far. I think if anything, it's led to them being scored on more than it has compared to the amount of goals they've generated from having more numbers in the attack, if that makes sense. So they could easily play a 4-back and have the same type of result they would have gotten with the 3-back, if that makes sense. In terms of offensive productivity, I think if they play a 4-back, they definitely won't have as many goals scored on them in the way that they were scored, because I feel like a lot of the chances we saw came from the fact that they didn't have as many numbers in the back. Again, I don't really get the point of the 3-back. It's been done effectively and efficiently, but I just don't think that they have the personnel to make it work. So I think that's definitely a very vulnerable part of their game plan going into the quarterfinals, is that 3-back system. If they're going to play a 3-back, they need to be on the same page with their midfielders, their holding midfielders in particular, because again, if Gunny Johnsdotter gets caught up, Lola Bonta has to drop into that space, or whoever's playing Maddie Nolf has to drop into the space she's left, because at that point you only have 2 defenders back. So they really have to play their cards right and get it perfect for them to be able to go far in this tournament, I think, especially with that formation. Offensively, I've been really impressed with them, with the chemistry between Vera Bukete and Amy Rodriguez and Brittany Ratcliffe, and the way that they were able to use that relationship to their advantage. Just in general, those 3 players bring a lot of energy to the team, and I'm really excited to see how they can cultivate that energy and that desire to win into the quarterfinals and throughout the tournament. One last thing I wanted to say is that I've been really impressed with the rookies so far. Maddie Nolf has been fantastic. Reza Strom Okamoto has been amazing. Sierra King, phenomenal. It's just so refreshing to see Craig Harrington have the confidence in his players, regardless of how long they've been on this team, to go out and perform. And so while I don't know if they'll necessarily win the tournament this year, I definitely think that Craig Harrington is definitely building a team that can be really threatening in the years to come. And he also has a good group of rookies who he can build his team around going forward. I definitely don't think Utah is going to win this tournament. I think they're too iffy. You know, some games they come out very strong, and then some games it's just they're non-existent. And so I think because of the inconsistency, I definitely don't think they're going to win this tournament, but I think they can make it probably to the semis. But I'm excited to see how they play. That's all I got time for today. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know how you think of the way Utah's been playing so far this tournament. Has anything surprised you? Were you expecting them to be worse, to be better? Were there any players who are exceeding your expectations, or are there any players who are underperforming in your opinion? I'd really like to hear what you guys have to think. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!